We're ready to go. Let's talk about money, finances, planning, your bank account, your life, everything put together. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk to Me Africa. Today is another day for us to talk about what we're doing with our lives, what we have, and what God has given us. We shall talk about financial planning. Financial planning for yourself, for your immediate family, and for posterity. On the show today, I have Kingsley Ekinde, who is a teacher at heart. He is a perfectionist in mind, an engineer by trade, a successful financial professional, but more importantly, he is a lifelong learner. I like that. Learning is never ending until you die. Kingsley spent over 17 years of his career as a seasoned electrical engineer that spanned two major industries, the automotive and aerospace industry. Wow. As an engineer, he led many projects from cradle to grave and was well respected as a subject matter expert or an SME on vehicle electrification, system integration, and go-to person for all vehicle wiring, design strategies, troubleshooting, and manufacturing support. How did that guy become a planner? Let's see, a financial planner. Let's find out. The death of his father in 2013, excuse me, may he rest in peace, precipitated his journey as a lifelong learner, which started with him completing a master's degree in management. Completion of this program significantly fueled his desire and passion to learn beyond the classroom walls. I like that. This culminated in him leaving his engineering career for more than 17 years and venturing into financial services industry where he has spent the last 3 years. You left a career you had for 17 years into financial planning. That speaks a lot. And I know we're going to learn a lot about you today concerning financial planning. So Kingsley is currently one of the sought-after speakers in his hierarchy and a protege of the great Dr. Martin Kwende, who is one of the top leaders in World Financial Group Insurance Agency, also known as WFGIA. That is excellent. He is on a mission to build a vibrant team of highly successful leaders in the financial industry who are currently impacting lives of thousands of people in the community, and I believe beyond the community as well. Before I welcome him, let me let you know that Kingsley is also a husband to his beautiful wife, Besem, whom I have met, and the father of two amazing daughters. I was just saying, father of daughters are always very protective. Esther and Daniela, whom he considers his world and a key reason for doing what he does now as a financial professional. He holds a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from St. Cloud State University in Minnesota, a master's degree in management with an emphasis on technology management from Walden University, and he also holds a professional certification as a product management professional. Wow, Kingsley, this is great. I mean, I'm first of all stunned by the fact that you left a career that had 7 years of experience from, and you venture into financial planning. There's something good there. It's like getting into a gold mine, and you're like, I'm going to leave this. Well, welcome to Talk to Me Africa, Kingsley.
Thank you so much, Sister Mabel, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I can't wait for us to talk about money. I think
Money.
It's a topic that a lot of us shy away from, right?
Right.
We need it every day. We need it
The
every
thing that makes the world go round, like people say.
right. So yeah, so it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Look forward to the conversation.
Oh, Kingsley, you and I go way back. We were young adults in Minnesota, unmarried, no children, and we would hang out on weekends. We would go to the same cultural meeting, but we'll hang out besides the meeting on weekends. And you had a beautiful complex. There was a swimming pool. We'll hang out there. We'll cook. We'll eat and all that before you became a husband and a father. So congratulations on this wonderful, you said, the key of your life, your beautiful wife whom I met in Minnesota, Besem, and your daughters whom I'm yet to meet. So it's so good to see you again after so many years.
Thank you. Likewise. It has really been a while, so I'm glad unfortunately, I don't know if I want to say unfortunately or fortunately, but in any case, the reconnection is great. See, you've been doing some amazing things. I've been silent, but I've been observing you. So kudos to you for all you do, you know.
And kudos to you too. Financial planning is very important. I got to be a fan of this topic so many years ago, and due to a personal incident in my life, just like your father who passed away, some things will touch you and make you change your perspective in life. That would be my first question about you. But since you've already said it, your father left the world in 2013, and that, made your journey in life changed so dramatically. We're going to get into that more, but thank you for joining. George says he's watching from Virginia. Thank you so much, George. And Summit Leadership Development, I'm watching from Maryland District. Please feel free to put your comments, ask questions. We have an expert here in financial planning. This is free lesson. Free classes. Do not hesitate to ask your questions. Like you said, money, money, money. We all have money. We all deal with money. If you have $1 or $1 million, you want to know how to manage your money. So to kick things off, Kingsley, as a financial planner, a financial planning expert, what should we say is financial planning? How do you define financial planning?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a very good place to start, right? Because financial planning is really a comprehensive process. It's not cherry picking. It's a comprehensive process
It's not cherry picking. I like that. You don't just grab stuff from the tree, any other. Okay.
The comprehensive process of managing an individual or a household's financial affairs to achieve what? Specific life goals, right? That's what financial planning really is, right? So it's not just trying to know, right? And
it has to be comprehensive.
right.
It has to be intentional, I should say, and it has to be geared towards helping you mold your financial fabric. So you know what's happening with your money and where.
Right? You have a life goal. So it will always involve three major aspects: evaluating your current financial situation, setting your financial goals, and then creating strategies to achieve those goals. But here's how I like to put it, and I want to help people because I like using analogies because the best way to help people get it better. I want you to think of a GPS. About 20 years ago, we used to buy a separate device.
Put in your car, yeah, a little thing, yeah, I agree.
Today, we all use it on our phones. But I want you to think about what the GPS does, okay? Maybe right now you are in Boston and I'm in Georgia. If you were to come to me, which let's just assume that you've never visited me, you don't know where I live.
And I had to drive.
And you have to drive. What would be your requirements that you need from me in order to make sure you can get to my destination?
Your address.
You need my address. Great. Now, what would the GPS need from you in order to chart a course?
It will need your address, the destination.
What else?
My location.
Very good. The GPS requires two important details:
where I am and where I'm going.
Your current location and your final destination. Without those two information, there is nothing the GPS, as powerful as it is, there's nothing it can do for you. It cannot give you a course of action or a course of direction to get to that destination. You need those two pertinent information: current location, final destination. So is financial planning. If you cannot evaluate your current financial state of affairs, and you don't even have financial goals, then there is no way you can ever achieve anything. Just like they say, if you're running in the wrong direction, speed is not your friend. So financial planning is like financial GPS. You need to understand your current location, where you are financially. Then let's talk about your financial goals and dreams, those life goals that you want to achieve. Only then can someone like me help you now to chart a course, coming with the strategies that you need to put in place to help you achieve that goal.
That makes it so easy. Financial planning is like your financial GPS. Know where you are and know where you're going.
Having a strategy that can map that route for you.
So do I have to have strategy, or do I come to you to help me design that strategy?
What designs the strategy or informs the strategy we need is your goals and your current, right?
So I have to tell you what I want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I don't know those two things, I can't make any recommendations in terms of what you need, what you have to have, all of that.
Mhm.
Then
Mhm.
once you know those two things, now it's easy to start putting some pieces in place.
Mhm. That's great. And I think you've answered my second question, which was, what does financial planning consist of? You know, your current position and where you're going to, and your goals have to be defined as well. But now, who can benefit from financial planning? Do we all need it?
In fact, let me ask this question. Who doesn't use money?
That's a rhetorical question. I'm not going to answer. It's very rhetorical.
So
It is so rhetorical. Yeah, who doesn't use money? Yeah, yeah.
if you're using money, then you need some form of financial planning.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do I need to have a certain amount of money that I use in order to need your services? You know, I look at a star who has millions of dollars. Yeah, they need financial planning to help them, you know, chart the cost of their money and their expense and all that. But if I have $100, $1,000, do I need financial planning? How much am I supposed to have to need your services?
I'm glad you asked that question because that is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have. I also had that myself. There was a time when I was in college, and I vividly remember one of my friends in passing, he just said something like, at the time, I think he was in pharmacy school, and he said, he went to see a financial guy to help him understand a few things about what he's doing. And I said, what for? He said, hey man, I need advice. I don't think I could do what I'm trying to do by myself. So I figured, hey, they're offering the services for free. I might as well go and sit with someone to talk to me. At the time, it was far-fetched because I'm like, what am I going to be talking to a financial guy about when I don't have anything in my account? But sitting down with a financial planner or a financial professional has nothing to do with what you have. It has everything to do again with your goals and dreams and where you are. Your goals and dreams will dictate what you need to do. And that's where the financial professional can help you provide guidance, information, and show you strategies. It could be certain products or services that if you now start considering acquiring those, putting those in place with time, now you know you can achieve that outcome that you say you want to achieve. Because either you're giving lip services to your goals or you're intentional about achieving your goals. But the financial professional planner would help you to say, okay, if you say this is what you want, then let's talk about this. Have we considered this? What could happen if this were to happen? Because the financial planner can help you from a risk management standpoint. Because a lot of us are taking risk, most of them unbeknownst to us that they are risky. And you know what some of us always like to say? When those risks are exposed, we start saying, God forbid. Is God forbid your financial plan? I mean, because we're asking, we say those things as if bad things only happen to bad people. But if you may, and if I may, permit me to just say this. I'm a Christian, so I like to base some things from the Bible. I believe the good book tells us that the rain falls on the just and the
unjust.
Right? And the sun shines on what? The just and the unjust. And what that passage of scripture is telling us is this, is that even bad people do experience good things. And good people do experience bad things. So don't for once count or discount that because you're good or whatever, or you pray today and you get out of the house, something tragic can happen to you. It still can. And it has. And we know people that things like that have happened to them. Not because of any bad thing they did, for example, like someone who was blind and Jesus helped him see. The disciples came to him and said, why was he blind? Is it because his parents did something wrong? Is it because he did something wrong? And Jesus said, none of that happened. But this situation, just so God could prove himself to them, is here. So bad things happen to people, regardless. But if you're on this side of heaven, you need to understand that there is a brain and there is a conscience and there is a mind that God has given you that you need to employ, to use to protect yourself in this natural environment. Because if you have to say, God forbid, then hey, please don't even live in a house, sleep outside, because God is your protector. Why lock
So
yourself?
what you're saying is we have to take care of our finances just like we take care of our everyday life because it's very important. But so if I come to you as a financial planner and I have no plan, do you sit with me and try to tell me what I could do with my money? Because let's say I win the lottery. I got lucky and I have $5 million. I don't even know where to start. You know, I come to you, you open that door and tell me what to do because you did say that I have to know my starting point, my ending point, and my goals. If I just came lucky and I had $5 million, I don't know anything to do with this money, what will you tell me?
Great. The first thing is to get to know you. Let's put the money aside. Get to
All
know
right, let's get that money. I'll come know you more.
because here's the thing. They say this. And just like you said, you want money. Think about it. The statistics tells us that people who have won the lottery or whatnot, within 5 years, they go broke again. Why is that? Because most of the time, it is something with this that we haven't understood that creates the problem we're dealing with. So even though now the money is there, something internal, which means there's a way of thinking that you possess that is either going to drive you in one direction or the other. And for me as a financial planner, that's the first base that I need to try to figure out. What is your level of thinking? Which means now, with that, I can help educate you. Without the proper education, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to really achieve the results you want. Because the only way somebody change a behavior is by exposure to new information. You can't tell someone who has been living in an environment where everybody around them smokes cigarette, and you want to tell them that cigarette is bad. It's going to be extremely difficult. You first of all have to remove them from that environment. Show them now an environment where people don't smoke and they live a better life. When that exposure happens, something begins to change here. At that point, they can start believing a different outcome or start believing or cultivating a different belief system about cigarette smoking. So for finances, every one of us have a psychology about money.
Yeah, I agree.
And your psychology about money determines a lot how you use the money.
I mean, I want to talk to you about some components of financial planning, but I want to go back to your point about how much you need to have or don't need to have a financial planner. You say it doesn't matter, right? So are you telling somebody who's watching right now that you can come talk to me as a financial planner with $100 in your account?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay.
Certainly. Like I said again, who doesn't use money? If you're using money, you need some form of help. The help you need is the information I can give you that can prepare you when you start making that much money. But right now, if you can change your mindset about how you think about money, that is going to be way beneficial than what you think you have in your bank account.
Why do you think people think that money is evil?
Great question. Here's the thing about money. Money has no identity in itself. Money simply assumes the identity of its holder. So when evil people have money, they do evil things. And money is a great amplifier. So money will amplify who you are. So if you're a generous person and you have access to money, you be way more generous. But if you're a dumb person, you do more dumb things.
Mm.
If you're a stingy person, don't think when you have more money, that's when you become generous. It's not going to happen. Because again, it starts from within. And that psychology that you have is what has to change. If that doesn't change, doesn't matter how much you have. Because money, and that's why when we talk about wealth, wealth is not money.
Mm.
Money is just part of wealth.
Talk more about that, please.
I'll give you 6 things that really comprises to make what you can say someone is wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we believe in. That's, I would say, the tenets of my business. Faith, family, finance, fitness or your health, fun, and last but not the least, friends. If you're balanced in these 6 areas, you're wealthy. Now, some of us, we may be wealthy in one of these components, and money may not be the one that we're wealthy yet in. But here's the problem, or here's the issue with money. As much as money is one of these 6 components, in my opinion, it is the most fundamental one. Money is like your thumb, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Your thumb is the only finger that can touch your other fingers.
That's right.
So money affects every area of your life.
Mm.
The lack thereof makes you not to even have certain things to do in your faith. The lack thereof affects certain things in your family. The lack thereof affects certain aspects of your health, because sometimes some of us don't even want to go to the hospital because we're concerned about medical bills. The lack thereof makes you not to have the kind of fun you want. And the lack thereof sometimes creates issues with friendships. So if we can start fixing the money problem, then all the other areas of life really begins to fall in place.
Mm.
One of the reasons why I decided to pivot my career. Because I recognized, as much as I was maybe considered smart, but as long as I was broke and as long as I was under the enslavement of money, I would truly never be free.
Mm. That's word. Let me see what Facebook is saying. Summit Leadership Development says money has no identity in itself. It only reflects that of the holder. That's a nugget, he said. That's a nugget. Yeah, I'll repeat it. Money has no identity in itself. It only reflects that of the holder. Nugget. I like that. And Leah, thank you so much, Leah. She says, yes, money is an amplifier. Good people deserve to have money, to have more money, because they will do more good with more money. That's true. And she also says that money is an army we send on an errand. But if we are not the commander, oh wow, it will not respect our instructions.
Yeah.
Without money, the impact of your voice is limited. So what I'm hearing is that money is not necessarily the root of all evil.
In fact, whoever quotes that, you're quoting the wrong scripture, right? Because the scripture says the love of money, which simply means the wrong relationship you have with money is the root of all evil, right? Because the love is not like, yeah, everybody needs to have money. Yeah. Everybody needs to have money. And what whoever said what I said that money is a commander is like soldiers. If you read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, the author of that book said something so profound. He said, money are your little soldiers that if you send them to war, like you said, they will fight a better fight. And he said, money makes a great employee, but a terrible boss.
Money makes a great employee, but a terrible boss.
So as long as you're...
If you let it rule you,
right.
Let it be your boss, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
Let it be the commander you send, like Leah said.
Right. I was reading something the other day, and the guy said, if you have to wake up because you have to go to work, then money is your boss.
Mm.
So for a lot of us, money is our boss.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple to know that money is your boss. Because if you go to the grocery store and you see that organic food and you see the regular one and you say, no, this organic one is expensive, money is your boss. Right? Money is your boss.
Money is telling you what to do.
Telling you what to do. If you're looking for a place to stay and that house really looks really nice and you like it, yes, you'll pay for it, but you say you can't afford it, Money is your boss.
This is deep. I feel like we're talking about financial planning, though we're not derailing people, and it's
Yeah.
about money, right? But I love how it is going because there's so much negativity out there about money. You know, even I'm gonna talk about my son here who does football analysis for the Minnesota Vikings. One of their star player, Kirk Cousins, left for a different team, and they were so pissed. And I said, wait, the guy did a business negotiation. We don't know about his family. He went for money, maybe because, yeah, not maybe, they did pay him more. They're like, oh, but he should have paid for the Vikings. I'm like, maybe it is his boss, but I think he made a good decision. So I don't know if in this case, money was his boss, but I did think that maybe he has a financial planner like you who told him to do something better, you know. So I have learned, you know, a lot already just talking with you here right now. Because I picture myself going to a grocery store and looking at stuff, I'm like, but it's the same thing. But it's not. And even if it is, I'm thinking and letting money control my action, which is where we lose it. So as a financial planner, when somebody comes to you and talk about money, do you let the amount they have lead the discussion, or you let their vision lead the discussion?
Their vision has to always lead the discussion. There are 9 essential areas that as a financial planner and someone who's really interested in helping someone, there are 9 areas that you have to look into. Okay. Some and in varying degrees, depending on who that person is as well. But it starts with assessment, analyzing their current financial situation, right? That includes their income, their expenses, their debts, their assets and liabilities, all of that. And then you go into goal setting. You start defining short-term, long-term goals, financial objectives, okay? Could be retirement, could be buying a new home, could be funding education, could be planning a vacation, whatever. And then you could also talk about budgeting. That's the third one, right? So, okay, if maybe you plan to help guide rail them, right? I don't really like budgeting, but it's one of the aspects that, yes, you still probably need to talk with someone if there's reason to. Savings and investing, right? Now, that's where you start looking at how you can develop strategies, right? Maybe for saving money, for investing in a way that aligns with their financial goal and risk tolerance. A lot of people don't like evaluating their risk. They just do things. And like I said again, cherry picking, right? And then there's also insurance planning. Okay, life insurance is not the only type of insurance you need to have.
I'm gonna get more into that, yeah. For
Just
sure.
like we have auto insurance. There's a reason why, right? Let me put it this way, simple. I don't know why people struggle fight insurance. Insurance is simply the transfer of risk. The risk that you are unwilling to take, or you know you cannot protect or avoid. For example, you suffer a car accident. If you know you have enough money to pay the damage of the other guy's car and yours, then don't have one. But some states will not even let you do that now because they make that a law. You have to have some minimum insurance, right? Same thing. That's why you go to work and you have health insurance in case you fall sick. You go to the doctor. The cost of what you could have paid, the insurance helps to reduce the cost. You transfer your health risk to someone else in exchange for a premium that you pay on a monthly basis. Here's the thing. When you're paying all those insurances, it doesn't look like you're getting sick every day. It doesn't look like you're getting a car accident every day. But aren't you paying it every day? So here's the question I'd like to ask the audience. Would you rather have it and not need it, or need it and not have it?
Oh, wow. It's like going to heaven. They always say, would you rather not believe here and then get there and then say, oh my God, I knew I would have believed? Or would you rather believe and go and don't see God? You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but I have had this chat with somebody, with some other person about do it now, you know, ensure your life on earth, believe in the God and know that there is a heaven. And then when you go there, be pleasantly surprised.
You know, let me.
So I like how you're relating money to your beliefs and to Christianity and all that, because again, like I said earlier, people always quote it wrong that money is a root of all evil. And before you continue, let me see. I don't want to miss the wonderful people who are on Facebook. Summit Leadership Development says the lack of money causes more harm, in my opinion. Oh, I agree with you. And Leah says it is a lie to hate money, or those living in abundance. Don't hate them. Don't hate money, or people who are living in abundance. You can't attract money at home when you hate money abroad.
That's the other aspect, right? If you're an immigrant, for anyone who is in this United States who is an immigrant, the question I have for you is, why did you leave your country? Was
We
it,
also for greener pastures, and greener pastures include green money.
we did not leave because we wanted to just come to further our education. No. If that was the case, then why you see, yeah, you've gone to the school, right? And all, go back. So we have misconstrued the real reason why we left for what is going on now. And because the environment some of us left from, education was so highly regarded, when we achieve that educational success, we think we have arrived. And yet you're broke. You're living paycheck to paycheck. I was. So educational success has never been the goal why we left where we came from. Never. But we are so quick to judge a strategy or a move that you could make that could truly bring you to financial independence simply because it doesn't seem to align with your educational status, with your academic achievement. And so we stay broke. And that's why the first base to help anyone is enlightenment. I have to inform you, I have to give you some basic education. The challenge, again, I find with a lot of us immigrants is this. Like an old wise man once told me, he said, Kingsley, the mind is like a parachute. It will only work when it is open. And a lot of us, we reject information. We don't even want to listen. And at that point, not even God can help you. You can go pray 24/7, but if you have that closed mind where you cannot even sit to listen to information, nothing is going to happen, no matter how much you pray. The problem is we keep equating or we keep substituting other things we need to do with prayer, and we think it's going to work. It's never going to work. Never. I love the Bible. And I'm someone who takes time to examine things. I like to question things because here's the issue. I find most people, they don't like asking questions. That's why whatever your pastor says, you accept it as truth. There's a reason for asking questions. And on this side of heaven, there are two fundamental reasons why a question is asked. Every time you ask a question, either you are seeking information or you are stimulating thought. When God asks you and I a question, he's not seeking information. He knows it all already. He wants to stimulate your thought. He wants to get you to think. So most of us, we think manual level is the toughest level. I'll tell you this. Thinking will make you sweat than working out in the gym. A lot of us will never exercised our brain that much to feel that exhausted. The closest we have come to is when we went to school, and some of us from Africa, when we're studying for GCE. That's the closest. And because of that, some of us have given up on reading because we said, I've gone to school for too long.
My own book don't correct.
Yes. So now you have let your schooling got in the way of your education.
That's why you say in your bio that you are a lifelong learner, because it never ends. You have to keep the mind stimulated, and so is your financial planning and your information about money. Wow. Okay. Leah says if you make $10 today from something you created yesterday, you are on the right track for tomorrow's abundance. That's really correct. And some leadership development says we came to America for the American dream, though we found the American nightmare first. So money is really important. You just have to have the right lens to look at money, and it is not evil at all, because if you don't mind remind our audience of the six components that you need in your life, that the thumb is the primordial.
So faith, family, finance, fitness or your health, fun, and friends. I call it the 6 Fs. If you have this and you're balanced, you're wealthy. But finance is your thumb, is the foundation.
Because it affects every other aspect of your life. Touches every part of it.
Yes.
Wow. This is interesting, intense. Let's talk about the components of financial planning. let's see the correlation between the below items and financial planning. Savings and financial planning. What's the
Yeah.
correlation?
So like I was listing these 9 components, basic components that financial planning entails, right? I mentioned assessment, evaluating, goal setting, budgeting, saving and investing. Is that next one? Insurance planning, tax planning, retirement planning, estate planning, and debt management, and emergency funds. So there are 10 actually. When you talked about saving and financial planning, here's an interesting thing.
Because somebody might say, I'm saving, so I'm planning. I just need to put a portion
Yes,
of money from my paycheck into my savings and I'm okay.
that
So is that financial planning? Is that enough?
it's not financial planning. Again, financial planning is a comprehensive evaluation, right? What you want to achieve and where you are. Okay. If you take one piece, which like you said, I like that's cherry picking, because you think you're saving, you think you're in financial planning. No, you're not. Because there are so many other things that has to happen that you need to put in place to even ensure that what you're saving is actually safe. Is what you're
Right,
saving safe?
right, right. Just because it's in your savings account doesn't mean it's safe.
Exactly. Is it safe? And if you're saving, to what end are you trying to achieve?
Mm.
Because again, if you don't have a clear picture of what you say you want, here's what I find. I really find it difficult to see why someone can tell me that. I always give a simple chart and I show people certain benefits. And I say, okay, hey, it's a quick way to show people a comparative analysis. Say, okay, hey, let's normalize different types of accounts that you know, and let's look at what these accounts can offer you as a benefit. And when I show the benefits section, I say, okay, these are the things that most people are always looking for. Fundamentally, there could be more benefits, but these 10 or so captures the entire essence of what anyone is probably going to be looking for. Number one, hey, you know what? No risk of loss. If that benefit appeals to you, hang on to that. Easy access. Do you want to get your money back when you need to? You may say yes. Okay, great. Protection. Do you want to lose money, or when the market goes up, your money goes up, it comes down, your money comes down? No. Protection, right? Insurance. Is your money insured? That's something that people don't recognize. The only reason why your money is somewhat safe in the bank is because of the FDIC, which stands for Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. An insurance company is insuring
It's
your money.
making sure your money is safe in the bank, not the bank.
Certain amount, right?
Wow.
Certain amount. So, but then you're making money, you have insurance on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your TV, your appliances, but your money is not insured.
Because it's in the bank. I think it's safe.
Yeah, you think it's safe, but you have money in other places, right?
Right.
It has to be a comprehensive
Comprehensive.
because now when you say these things matter to you, that means, because here's the thing with the decision. When you make a decision, all other options must cease to exist. You can't tell me that you don't like losing money, but at the same time you want to keep using a plan or a financial tool that is losing you money. Then you're serious about not losing money.
We do need people like you in our lives, I tell you. Silo, thanks for joining. She says, I'm watching and learning. Thanks for the knowledge, my friends. Yes, I am also learning. One thing I love about hosting Talk to Me Africa is I learn a lot. I think I get the most free knowledge from everybody who comes on the show. So I'm really, really grateful. Now, what about tax and financial planning? For somebody who thinks that, tax, I just pay tax, I don't even look at it. Like, let me give an example. When I moved from Minnesota to California, and I looked at my paycheck, I go, wait, am I in a different country? Why are they taking so much money from my paycheck?
Yeah.
So how do we plan knowing that there's something called tax? What's the correlation?
All right, wonderful. So to help you and the audience, I'm going to teach you 3 money rules. If you catch the insights from these 3 money rules, you may never need my help again.
Okay. Are you getting yourself out of business here? I hope we catch it.
It's simple, but they are all very profound. And I'll get to taxes, but let me start with the first one. The first one is what most people call compound interest.
Mm.
In the financial realm, they have a slogan for it. They call it the rule of 72. Because Albert Einstein was able to come up with a formula to approximate how long it could take for your money to double,
Mm-hmm.
the element of compounding. You do know that they say if they give you a penny and that penny doubles every day for 30 days, that amount of money will be about $1 million, 5 million, 5 point something million. That's compounding. Okay. But let me help people understand the rule of 72 and the power of it. I'll show you the good side and the bad side. It's affecting us either way. And that's why Einstein said the man who understands it will enjoy it, and the man who doesn't will pay for it. And I'll show you how we can enjoy it and how some of us are paying for it.
Mm.
So 72 is a simple way to evaluate how long in years it would take for your money to double. So if you have your money sitting in a financial tool, and let's just say it's that savings account, and they say they are offering you 1% interest, which we know there's no account like that, perhaps that exists, right? But let's just say 1%. 72 divided by 1 is what?
I don't know math.
72 divided by 1 is 72.
Mm.
What that means is
I was
it's
joking. I need to keep telling your story. Yeah. I didn't know that by one is the same number.
yeah. So 72, so it's 72 years. So it's not about the amount of money you have in the account.
Wow.
It's that interest rate. So that means even if you had just $1 in that savings account, it would take 72 years for that $1 to become $2. So imagine now that they are offering us 0.01%. Okay, it means it will take 7,200 years for that $1 to become $2. Okay, so that's why you want to look for accounts that can give you higher rates of return, that can almost be stable. So that way, the time it takes for your money to double is a lot shorter. But if you have an account that can give you double, give you 6%, that means now every 12 years, your money doubles.
And
now,
yeah.
Let me show you where it's hurting you.
Mm.
You have a credit card and your interest rate is what? Let's just say 20%.
Mm.
Or let me even go up to 30%. Okay. So now 72 divided by 30 is what? Is 2.4. What that means is every 2.5 years, that credit card balance is doubling. You keep making that minimum payments, every 2.5 years, your balance is doubling. That's why some of us have been stuck paying off credit card, and it seems like it's never ending, because that high interest rate means they are making a lot more money within a
Wow.
the rule. But now that compounding is working for that credit card company, not you.
Not for you.
I'll show you how that same rule again. Inflation. The price of bread now is about $3 and some. The same bread that we used to buy maybe for $1.50. A dozen eggs now is about $3 and some change. The same dozen that used to be maybe 99 cents on sale. Why? The same rule of 72. The inflation is what? Let's just say 3%, right? 72 divided by 3 is about 18. So every 18 to 19 years, the cost of everything doubles.
Mm. I remember a lady had told me that when she came to America, gas was like 98 cents a gallon.
Yes. So I want you to think about that seriously, because if you have your money somewhere, if that resource or that account or that investment is not even generating some return that is on par with inflation, you are losing money.
Big time.
Okay.
Big time.
So that's rule number 1. If you understand these 3 rules, your money problems will be solved, but it takes the mindset to think about it. and figure out how you can start putting it together. That's where I help. But that's one. The second rule is how money grows. Now, guess what? That first rule affects accumulation. Okay, affects accumulation of money. This second rule affects protection. There are three options every one of us have. Three options. Your money can grow in a fixed rate, or it can grow in a variable rate, up and down, or it can grow in an index rate, where the indexing is a strategy that prevents you from losing money, but allows you to benefit from some market behaviors. But those three do exist. It can either be a fixed way, variable, like you investing in the stock market, buying cryptocurrency, you name it, or indexing. That will affect how the money grows as well, and will affect how well your money is protected. Third rule is how money gets taxed. We also have three options. It can be taxed now, or taxed later, or it can be tax-free.
Tax now, tax later, or tax free. Okay.
Or tax advantage. You have those three options. And there are different types of accounts or plans that each of these will offer you. If you're looking at a tax now, I'll give you an example. A simple savings account is a tax now account, because at the end of the year, whatever interest gain, you will receive some Form 1098 from the bank. The IRS is saying, hey, we heard that you made some $10, $15 in that savings account. We need a part of it. So every time you make that money, you make some gains, you're going to pay taxes. Or you can tax later. That means you're deferring from paying taxes now to pay it later. And that bucket is probably one of the most dangerous of the three.
Which one is the dangerous of the three?
Tax later.
Tax later.
Because here's what I need. If you are in this country, America, or any other part of the world, same thing it seems like it's going across. Do you believe, my dear sister, that in this country that we live in, taxes are going to be lower or higher in the future?
Yeah.
Higher?
Higher. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's talk about this. Let's think about this now. So if I'm sitting with you and I'm saying I'm your financial planner and I really want to help you achieve some goals, and you already believe that taxes will be higher in the future, does it make financial sense for me to recommend to you to put your money in an account that differs from paying taxes now? Because if you believe that it's going to be higher later, that means right now it's lower.
I will pay now.
Why not pay now and let it grow tax-free? Here's how I like asking people that common question. Would you like to be taxed on your seed or on your harvest? I'll make it simple for you. Let's just say you were going to give me $1,000, and I said I was going to grow that money for you, but you need to pay taxes. Or you can put it somewhere and not pay the taxes now. And let's just say taxes is 10%. And let's even assume at the same time that that 10% stays fixed forever.
Yeah.
I want you to see how you still pay more in taxes. So now you have that $1,000. If I pay taxes now and you pay 10%, that means you give me $100 and then you invest 900 and let it grow. If that money grows to $1 million, you have $1 million tax-free. However, if you say you're not going to pay the taxes now, you want to pay later, I say no problem. So put all the 1,000 in that account, you do. That same money grows to $1 million.
$1 million.
And then you pay the same 10%.
10%. Yeah. You're paying a lot more.
You end up paying $100,000 in taxes, right?
Even if the tax did not change.
Even if the taxes don't change, you will still end up paying more in taxes. If you understand these three rules, you will know why I'm passionate about what I do, such that by the time I recommend to you that don't do this, do that, you may be on the safe side to take my advice.
That's right. I think Leah got it. She said tax now, tax later, or tax free. Whoa, this is interesting. We always, I mean, many people do think that I was in that same boat. What you want to tell me about financial planning? I know a lot already. My money is this, I put some here and I'm good. But tax and financial planning is really important to understand. I got it. Wow. And so we think that putting money into a savings account is okay for my retirement, or in my 401k is okay for my retirement. Is there a correlation between retirement and financial planning?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
You see, here's the thing that people don't know. I'm not going to throw something out here again. Retirement. What is retirement? Let me ask you.
I think when you're done working, you're like, I'm not actively not done, but you're not actively in a service where you're being paid for your time. You retire because I don't go to work. I don't, you're not actively giving your time for money, but you do some work, but that's not what you're actively doing. That's retirement. So if you're done doing that, then you retire.
Wonderful. So I'm hoping that the audience will answer that question too, but here's what I'll say. For me, retirement, and really, let me not just say for me, retirement is really financial independence. Retirement is doing what you want to do, not what you have to do.
Retirement is financial independence, meaning it has nothing to do with age.
Nothing to do with age.
To do with years of service.
Years of service.
Years of labor.
If you had 10, 20, $30 million sitting in an account today,
retire.
Everything you do will be the things you really want to do, not what you have to do. Now, granted, there'll be some things that you have to do. I'm not saying that, but there are certain aspects of certain things that you do today that you won't have to do, like going to work, like worrying about bills. So many things. You could be wherever you want to be and not have to worry about those things. That's the truest essence of retirement. The reason why they put an age to it and why we keep thinking it's an age is because at the time you're studying, you probably don't have anything. So, okay, you really have to put a financial goal in place to say, okay, you know what? At this age, I want to retire. And then you actively work towards that goal. But if anyone is listening to me and you're just saying, hey, I'm going to retire at 70, I have news for you. If you don't have a proper financial plan and you're actively working towards it, there's no way you will retire. In fact, the statistics are staggering. In America, only about 13% have a retirement plan, and the median amount in people's retirement account is $65,000. And let me help some people to see how bad this math is. For some of us who are in corporate America, you're working and yes, you have that nice plan they have offered to you called retirement savings plan, aka 401k. And then you're doing exactly what I just told you, tax later. So you're not paying the taxes now and you're leaving the money there, so you take it out later. But now here's the math. Let's do this math. Let's assume you're putting 10% away. Wonderful, you're doing a great job. And you're now living on 90% of your income. How well are you enjoying your life now on that 90%? Probably not so much. So you're not enjoying your life on the 90% and you're putting away 10%. So how long will it take you to save 100% of your money if you're saving 10% every year? So that means every 10 years is what it will take you for you to save 1 year worth of income that you're making now. So if you work for 30 years, that means at best you would have saved 3 years worth of income. If your 100% or 90% is not comfortable now, you think it will be comfortable then?
This is eye-opening. Retirement can happen at any age, says Leah. It can be 30, 40, or 50, and retirement should be financial independence. She's really learning too from here. I like that. Wow. This is great.
So that's the predicament that we are in. And if we don't bring this financial literacy to Main Street America, especially for us immigrants, we are the hardest working group of people, and yet we don't really have much to show for it. You think about it, it's not because you're not working hard, but sometimes we are just doing the wrong things or the things that are negatively impacting us. And then we end up in what I call unintended consequences. Yeah, you did not mean for this to happen, but it happened simply because either you rejected doing something, you did not take the right action, or you didn't just know. And let's say this: if you think obtaining the right education is costly, then you really haven't evaluated the cost of ignorance.
I think financial ignorance is very costly.
Very.
No matter how much education you have from school.
Yes.
Now let's talk about estate and financial planning. I don't want to cry, but my friend just died, and because I am so much aware of financial planning, I just said, oh my God, what happened to my estate?
Yeah. That's another one that is huge, which I'm glad we're talking about this because you're from Cameroon, I'm from Cameroon. I'm sure some of the folks who are online are from Cameroon or some other part of Africa. Here's what I want to share with you guys. When my dad passed away, he didn't leave a will. Fortunately, or I don't know if I'll say unfortunately, but I'll say fortunately, it was Cameroon. So we could manage the outcome. But most of us, we don't really know the laws of this land. And yet we're playing the game of money. Anytime you play a game with someone who knows the rules, you don't stand a chance. You don't stand a chance. So we are here playing this game. And for some of us, we're assuming that if someone dies, it's just going to happen like it happened in Cameroon. If they left anything, whatever. Not so. There is something here called probate. The simplest definition for probate is this: is proof you have a will. And what that process does is that every asset that you have under your name becomes confiscated by the federal government. Because in this country, they also have another law that says even a dead man's debt must be paid.
Even a dead man's debt must be paid.
So that means whatever debt you owe, they will freeze
your grave. Yeah.
and liquidate them to pay off your debts. Only after that is complete can your next of kin or your family receive anything. And just in case the money is not enough to take care of your debt, whatever is left will be handed to the family to pay it. Now, if you're a wife or you're a husband, married couples, listen to me carefully. I know we like to do so many things jointly, but I want you to listen to me again carefully. Because in this country, when that probate steps in, anything that is joint be frozen. So as much as you may want to have joint accounts, it may be in your best interest to actually keep them separate. I'm saying this not just because of head knowledge, but personal experiences. Once one of the spouses passes away, there's a reason why when somebody passes away, they say nobody can pronounce them dead but a medical professional. Because that medical professional has to make one phone call When that phone call is made, within 24 hours, every account tied to that person's name is frozen. One of my friends' dad passed away. And because they knew this, they quickly rushed their mom to go to as many banks as they possibly could to withdraw money from their dad's account. Because the next day, they were frozen. And you have to go to the court to request access to get some of the money out. And not only to request, you have to prove to the court that what you are making is not enough to sustain you in the meantime while the probate process is going. Mm. You're from Minnesota. The artist Prince, when did he die?
A few years ago.
2016. Mm. It was last year in September that the probate process was finally completed.
Wow.
7 to close to 8 years, all his assets were frozen. And to make matters worse, siblings were fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And as long as that kept going on, that means the administrator whom the court had appointed had to make sure they could resolve all the discrepancies or disputes. If that doesn't get resolved, nothing is released. Our Wakanda brother, Chadwick Boseman, passed away. He did not have a will.
He did not. And he was married. Mm-hmm.
And he was married. He had about $3.8 million in his estate. Do you know how much the state of California took from that? The state of California took $1.5 million. And then the remaining 2.1 something was split between his wife and his extended family. So when I talk about unintended consequences, I really want men to listen to me a little bit. If you are married, you are called husband because it means house band. You are responsible for protecting the house. In fact, the word father means God of the house. You don't want to leave your family in an unintended consequence. You're working hard, I know. But are you putting money in places that could leave your family destitute simply because you didn't know or you didn't listen and took action? Because don't tell me you love that family and you're unwilling, let alone to even have or write a simple will, which today can be done in many places. Do you know how many times people have been in the hospital and the hospital had to make a decision on behalf of that person because no one had a medical directive, had a power of attorney to make decisions? Again, this is not Cameroon. This is not Africa or wherever you came from. In this land, there are laws that govern and guide everything they do. And you can leave your family in that kind of situation, and yet you had money in the bank, and yet you had money in certain instruments. How would it make you feel that now you're gone? Yeah, maybe you're in heaven and you're looking down and observing the pain your family is going through. So not only are they mourning you because you've gone, but now they are in significant financial distress because you left.
Mm. Wow. That was a lecture. That was a lecture for a minute. Leah says, I'm a single mom, and that crosses my mind a lot. I think what she's talking about is when we're talking about not leaving a will or going to probate court. Now, if there's a will, let's say somebody is married or you have a family and you left a will, does that avoid probate court? Does having a will in place avoid probate court?
It doesn't. It doesn't avoid probate court. Because like I said again, the word probate simply means prove your will. So it will still go through probate court, but at least it would mitigate the impact of the process.
So the advice here is for everyone watching, tell your friends, tell your loved ones, get a will in place.
At least
At least get a will in place. And
That's
people always thought that if you don't have a joint account, a joint this with your spouse, then it's not a marriage. But now
Yeah.
we're seeing that in the eyes of not the eyes of the law, but there's some benefit in having separate accounts, in having things separately. You know, that is a piece of information that is worth paying money for. And I hope if you're watching or listening, you should know that financial planning is not just you putting $10 in the savings account every paycheck. It's listening to all of this. It goes beyond savings. It goes beyond knowing that I have an emergency fund. Let's talk about emergency fund for a second. I had talked to somebody on the show who said something revealing, even though I knew about it, but again, it was like boom when he said it. That most of us African immigrants in America, we do not have emergency funds, but we are the emergency funds for our people back home.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about emergency fund for a minute. And as it relates to financial planning.
Yeah. The rule of thumb is that you want to have at least 3 to 6 months of what your monthly expenses are in some account for that emergency. The thing is, like I said again, I like the way one of my sisters puts it. She says, that we can't stop life events from happening. And we can mitigate the impact they have on us when they happen.
Yeah.
And that's what emergency fund is all about. That yes, things can happen. You're not wishing for it, but you're preparing in case it does. Okay. And yeah, it's a serious topic, and one of those things that I've had clients that sat with, and after doing a financial evaluation and looking at their portfolio, I said, look, there's not a whole lot we can do because this piece right here is a big hole. So whatever strategy I'm going to do is going to be the bare minimum, at least to protect your life. Because here's the aspect. The emergency funds, as critical as it is, there's something we haven't properly understood. Is that every life carries intrinsic value. But here's the other insight I want to give you. That intrinsic value can be converted to financial value. You know how you convert that?
Life insurance. Yeah.
But because we don't understand the financial gain, we think life insurance is just, a lot of us, especially Africans, whenever they talk about it, you say, oh, you want me to die early. Life insurance never had anything to die. That's why it's called life insurance.
It's not death insurance, it's life insurance.
Actually, insurance for dying is called final expense. When you go, yes, we can bury you.
Yeah.
Life insurance is intended for living. But how we've come to know about it, it has left a sour taste in our mouth. And so then we shy away from it, not knowing that it is one of the most powerful financial instruments anybody can exploit.
Somebody once told me that, why would I save into something I will not benefit from?
Exactly, because they don't know any better. Who told you that you wouldn't benefit? Do you know how many types of life insurance exist? Do you know how they can be structured to give you tax-free retirement? Do you know that life insurance can help you save for your children such that in the financial realm, they call it the $1 million baby. And there's a reason why it's called that name. Because when it's properly structured, by the time that child is in their 20s, they're already a millionaire. They may not know it, but their parents already set it up for them. And that's what it's going to do. Not only will it pay for their school fees, so they don't have to suffer student loans like some of us are in the burden of student loans. That's one plan. We take care of them in their adult life. We take care of them in their retirement life. And then when they pass away, they leave more money to the next generation. That's one of the tools.
Generational wealth.
Build generational wealth. And yes, we're not using it. So you showed up, your dad didn't. In fact, how many of us know the names of our grandparents or great grandparents? Let me go one step.
Because they left nothing for us, so there's no generational legacy is not even maintained because they didn't leave anything.
That's it. They didn't leave anything. And so you are also in the same shoes now. You don't want to leave anything because sometimes I talk to some African parents and say, hey, I struggle my kids to suffer and make their own way. Really?
Somebody told me my kids would take student loan. They then go take student loan.
You do that too. I mean, how horrible that is. That you live in an environment and in a country where you can give them a stepping stone and you're not willing to because you suffer. So you think the challenges you went through in Africa will be the same thing they will face here? Let me give you a hint, my brother or sister. Back home, the challenges we went through is that some days we went without food. We walked to school, maybe bare feet. We walked to school, maybe we had shoes, some of us had shoes, but we walked to school, right? Or we didn't have enough clothes, even the books we wanted, we didn't have. That is the challenges we faced. We got whooped even when we were innocent. That is the challenges. Let me just give you a hint on the challenges your children and mine may face here. It's drug addiction, prostitution, child adoption. Okay. Changing their agendas or the agenda, gender transformation. And all of these also stem from a place that you are now cultivating and you don't know it.
This is intense. I was coming on the show to talk about financial planning and I'm getting emotional already just listening to you because there's so much truth in what you're saying. Let me acknowledge Facebook again. Silo says, wow, Jojo, you just spit out something so deep and very important. Yeah, it's wow. And Leah says, Legal Shield can help you set up a living will and can be revised over and over while you are still alive. That's good to know. Legal Shield is very important. They can help you set up that. Can your bank help you set up life insurance? Set up what's it called? Will? No, it has to be some.
Yeah, it has to go through some kind of a legal
entity. Okay. Yeah. All right. And she says it is selfish to avoid life insurance. It is very selfish because you're dead anyways. And like you say, I can imagine us looking down at the people we leave behind after we're gone and thinking of the things we might have done to help them feel better because you will mourn the person who died, but knowing that there's a way for you to live a little better because it left something for you or for your children in case you were married and you had children, it heals the heart a little better. The struggle is a little better if you know the pain. I mean, if you know that after the burial, I can breathe.
Let me put it this way to you, even. It's way more than that. Let me say something that maybe myself, I never reflected on. Life insurance is the continuity of the responsibility that you have always been doing here as a parent, as a father, as a mother, when you are not here. It's the continuation of the responsibility that you want to keep in place when you are not here. To make sure that the kids are fed, to make sure that they go to school, to make sure that they have a place to stay. Because that's why one of the rules of thumb is your income is part of the calculation to determine your proper insurable need. There are two numbers. You said something, and I was going to touch on that. There are two numbers that people don't understand. That rarely, maybe you've never heard it, you've never thought about it, come across your mind. But the first one is your financial independence number, which has to do with retirement, right? A lot of us would want to live a certain kind of lifestyle in our old age. And so I asked some people about how much a month would you want to receive as monthly income? And some of them will tell me on average, maybe $10,000. I say, great, there's nothing wrong with that goal. And let me just help people to understand perspective and to see how just understanding that can help you. So let's say you want $10,000 a month and you're now 40 years old and you want to retire at 65. Okay. So that means we have a 25-year window to do some work. That's a strategy part, such that when you hit 65, you can start collecting $10,000 a month from some from your financial plans. Now, God gives you long life. You say, hey, I want to hang around till I'm 90. So that means we have another 25 to 26 years to go. So let me do this. So 10,000 a month, that's 120,000 a year, right? 120,000 a year times, let's just say 25. That means you need about $3 million by the time you reach 25. By the time you reach 65, I'm sorry.
65, yeah.
Okay. That $3 million, that's your financial independence number. That is to say, if you get there and you have that money, you're good because that's the goal you wanted. So now, my plan or where I come in to say, okay, now that we know this is your goal, let's reverse engineer that goal to see what we need to start doing for this 25-year window that we have.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
55, you got your $3 million.
So is there a time? Is there not a time? Is there a time to start financial planning? Like you just said, okay, let's say I'm 45 and I think I want to retire at the age of 65. Is it late for a person who is 45 to start that type of financial planning and say, my goal is to retire at 65 and make this amount of money? Or in another form, let me rephrase, when is the best time to start financial planning with the aim of retiring at a healthy age, say like 65?
Very good. Let me say something because when we do financial planning and I generate a report that I sent to my clients, there is a page there that talks about answer that question. I want to read it for you. It says at the age of 25, and it gives the excuses people give at different age groups. At age 25, we hear things like, oh, we're just getting started. We'll save more when we are making more income. At age 25. At age 40, yeah, the excuses, oh, we've got a house, we've got house payments, car payments, and the kids, we just don't have anything left to save. At 50, oh, as soon as the kids are out of school, we'll be able to start saving for retirement. Now, at 60, oh, our expenses are so high, and the amount we need to save is just more than we can afford.
Wow. There's an excuse at every decade.
Is the best time to start planning for your retirement.
Now. No matter your age, I think now is the time. Wow. It's now.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you said in the beginning that you don't have to have a specific amount of money to need a financial planner services. The person who wants to live the life of $10,000 a month is different from someone who'll be okay with $1,000 a month. So you come to you and you help them plan and achieve their goals of what they really want to attain at that time. Now, you've talked a lot about estate and financial planning. So if somebody passes away with a beneficiary, for example, right, they still have to say, hey, the dead has to pay their debt. So you hold on first. Even though you're a beneficiary, we have to take care of the debt of the dead first. So, is that different from a person who does not have a beneficiary upon their passing?
Yes, and it depends on the type of account that you're residing into. You know, there are certain accounts that having a beneficiary is optional. Some of us don't know that we can put beneficiaries in our bank accounts. If you didn't know that, please go on Monday. Make sure you can put a beneficiary there. It helps. It would not solve all the problems, but it would help. Including your 401ks, it would help if you make sure you specify. And when you specify, here's the other thing I need to tell you, make sure you keep them up to date. Okay, you don't want to
keep what up. You keep the account or the person up to date.
Keep the person's name up to date. You don't want to somebody's name and then let's say you're married and you divorce and you forgot to change it because if you die, which happened recently, okay, a gentleman I know had put the girlfriend's name as the beneficiary. When he died, the money went to the girlfriend and not a franc went to the family. Okay, that's the law, regardless. Once that name is there by law, only that person can receive those funds. So it's just as much as it is important to have a beneficiary, it is also just as important to make sure you keep that information up to date with who you really want to receive the funds if something were to happen to you. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Now, when I say it depends on the type of account, it's because it's this. If that account, whatever you put in there was taxable or whatever, there are ways the IRS or the government would treat that money. Some will go to them tax-free. For example, life insurance is always going to be tax-free, and it's also income tax-free, which means that money will not count as income to the beneficiary. You leave money in a plan like a 401k, chances are the government will first of all take the taxes because you were contributing pre-taxes, okay? And then when whoever received that money, it will count as income. So you get taxed twice for dying.
Oh. Oh my God. Let me acknowledge Facebook. This is so educative. Benedict A. Dolo says, wow, thanks for the financial planning lecture. I am following from Monrovia, Liberia. Oh, thank you so much. And Summit Leadership Development says, life insurance is a way to maintain the value you represent to your loved ones, even after you're gone, right? And that value is determined by you because it depends on how much you want to put on your life while you are alive.
Yeah.
And, oh, wow. Yeah, he agrees that it's right now that you have to do it. Leah says, create a vault to track all your investments and savings and your beneficiary information as well as your trustees. So what happens if somebody is married and getting a divorce and they have that joint account? Would you tell them to say, before the divorce, look for a way to separate this? Or we know that divorces are hard. People fight, especially when it comes to money. What would you say as a financial planner to somebody going through a divorce and they have joint accounts and 401k exists and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's a difficult one for sure. A situation like that really comes down to both parties, how willing they are to solve their differences in an amicable way. Because once it's going past that point where it gets into the hands of the court, then there's not much they can start talking about. This guy will going to no, the court now will decide who gets what. Right. So the best advice I can give anyone you're going through that, if you can avoid going to the court, by all means, do so. It never benefits any of the parties once it makes it into the court system. Never.
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 Oh, this has been a great lesson. I have one more thing to talk about before we let you go on Talk to Me Africa today. And thank you so much to all those who have joined on Facebook and for all your questions, your comments. This again is free knowledge. Before I get to the last segment, which is risk in investment, can you please tell people how they can reach you? They need financial planning advice.
Yeah, I mean, I have my Facebook page, Kingsley Akinda. You can go there and maybe send me a message through that, or you can check me on LinkedIn, or you can call me. My number is 706-254-3486. So LinkedIn, Facebook page, just search my name, you'll find me, or give me a call, shoot me a text message. I'll be glad to help, answer some questions and see how we can help you. Sure.
Last question before I let you go and talk to me Africa today is there. Thank you so much for putting the number, Leah. Leah, I love you so much on the show today. You've taken notes for the audience who are going to come and watch afterwards. So thank you so much. And she just put your number on there. If you don't mind, add Leah, that is the number for the financial planner expert who was on the show today. Lastly, most everything in life has risks. You've talked a lot about the positivity of financial planning, how it's going to benefit us. Is there a risk in financial planning? What is a negative aspect if we're looking into doing it? What would you tell us is the downside?
Wow. I'm curious. What is the risk in knowing what you don't know?
Ignorance is more expensive. So there's basically no risk in financial planning.
There's no risk to financial planning. The fact that you're not doing it is way riskier.
But there's a risk in investment, or there are risks in investment, but there's
Investing.
no risk in getting a financial planner's advice.
There's no risk.
I think you have the best job in the world. That has no risks. Because you go to the doctor, you know you're going to get medication or surgery, or you're like, okay, there are risks involved. We're going to open you up. You take this medication, there are side effects, you know, but I want to get well. But I come to you as a financial planner, there are no risks. You have the best job in the world.
Yeah, if you want to look at it from another angle, it could be that the risk is maybe you discovering something that could really be painful. Because the truth is, the truth doesn't always feel good. The truth can hurt. And I think that's why a lot of time, a lot of people avoid talking about money, because their truth about money is painful. And they will rather conceal that pain than to open it.
Why do you think it is? Because I think people are ashamed to say, okay, this is my bank account and there's only $200 in it. Teach me, help me. Is that the reason why we don't come to you? Because we're like, I don't want him to see my mess, to see how poor I am. But then we're coming to you for help, but we're ashamed.
Yeah, it is all of that. And that comes from how we grew up, your worldview, the way of thinking, right? You grew up, you never knew how much your father made, you never knew how much your mother made, nobody showed you anything, they never sat you down to talk about money like this, right? For most of us, mama took care of the house, food, basic stuff. Daddy, oh, school fees, the big items for daddy. That's all we knew about money, right? You grow up in an environment, you go around town, all you see people doing with money is building a restaurant, building a bar, or build now you have guest houses everywhere, right? So the concept of money is very myopic, very limited, right? So then people are not even having conversations about it. And then the people who used to have money, when they want to talk about it or whatever, we label them that this person's hand is somewhere where, you know, it's suspicious. Right? You grow up in that environment and you come now and then now you are making your money. You're doing the same thing. Your wife doesn't, most African men, their wife don't know how much they make.
Because financial constraint is very difficult.
For some reason, if she does, then it's like you are going to be your debt. You say you love her and you love your children. Again, unintended consequences, because if she goes away, which a lot of women should take the back seat. Oh yeah, he doesn't want to talk about money. Every time I bring it up, you know, it's like something happens. So you take the back seat. But the day that husband of yours passes away, you will find out quickly that you wish you had insisted. You wish you had known a thing or two about his finances. So this goes for women as much as it goes for men. It's a partnership. And there has to be some visibility of what the money, what is going on. Otherwise, that's what exactly would happen. Unintended consequences, right? The wife doesn't know how, maybe you only know that has one bank account when the guy had another account. You don't know where to start. Is that what you want? So it is all of that, all of these pieces that lead to a lot of things, but coming is that shamefulness and that maybe sometimes that guilt. Nobody that we see today started. Nobody that we see today started with some huge bank account. No one. They all started from somewhere. And if you cannot be humble enough to say you need help to get the help, then how do you want help? You think God is only going to help you through people. Money has never fallen from heaven into my bank account. Never. It's only going to come through people.
Kingsley, I want to thank you so much. But before I say my final thank you to you, let me acknowledge a couple of people who joined on Facebook. And Leah, I think you've invited some people who are thanking you for inviting them to the show, because again, this is very, very valuable information that helps everybody. He began by saying that who doesn't use money? We all do. So Karen Money says, and you have also created your own bank. So many benefits, uses to having life insurance. I think she's acknowledging the fact that it's important to have life insurance. But Karen said something that I missed. I'm trying to go back to find what she said that was very important. I don't see. I wanted to acknowledge it here. I don't find it. It's gone too quickly. But Karen, thank you. You've had some very good contributions. Leah, to conclude, says the burden is heavier on the single parent using one income for many expenses, but there's always a way, and that way can be provided to you by a financial planner like Kingsley Ekinde today, whom you can find on Facebook, Kingsley Ekinde, on LinkedIn, Kingsley Ekinde, and we have your number on the comment section below. Any final words to everybody who uses money when it comes to financial planning? What would you tell them?
Yeah, my final words and my final thoughts. For most of us, money has been that one thing that we all seek and we all find as something that we know we need on a daily basis. But it's also at the same time the thing we least really talk about. Let's start having conversations. Let's be willing to be vulnerable a little bit and get the help. I'm a financial professional. And if you think about the medical profession, if you go to a medical doctor, you go for a checkup. There are certain things that that medical doctor will do to evaluate the state of affairs of your health. You go for a health check and think about it. Once a year, the government encourages you to go for a physical, which is what? A preventive measure to ensure that things that could happen, let them catch it before they do. Right? Here's my recommendation to everyone listening and watching. Do you know, or when did you even have a financial health check? It's just as vital as the medical one. In fact, it is your finances that takes care of or pays for your medical health check. And yet you've never considered doing a financial health check. So how well are you doing? How well are you doing
financially
when you've never done a health check? Do you agree with me that if you had a car that keeps running and you never check the engine, you never change the oil, or that, how long do you think that car would run? That is the quintessential problem here. That it starts by you taking action. Inaction is still action. And they say if nothing changes, nothing changes. But that's my last word to the audience. The least you can do is schedule time to see what you can do.
And the least you can do is make sure that when you plan your annual health check, also plan a financial health check with an expert like Kingsley Ekinde. Thank you so much. Thank you. I say I'm blessed to host Talk to Me Africa because I benefit a lot. The information I get, I learn. This platform is meant to teach, to educate, to inform. And I always say, if I entertain you, that's a plus. With people like you, we can all help to make our lives better, make our future better, make our children's lives better. You mentioned a lot of the struggles that our children would face that are different from our own. That to me was an eye-opener, even though I knew what those struggles are. But there's something about humans. We seem to put ourselves away from things. You know, oh, somebody died at 25. Oh, wow. It's like somebody died. It can never be me.
Yeah.
Oh, that spouse died. Oh, somebody's spouse died. Can be my own spouse. So we don't prepare for things that will happen, which are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So for the last time, I'm going to ask you to tell our audience those 6 F's that they need to know when it comes to financial planning before I let you go. This has been so good. I feel like you keep staying and I keep saying go, but you know, I don't want you to go. Just give us those 6 F's again before I let you go finally.
So these 6 essential things and things that if you can be balanced in these 6 areas, then you consider yourself a wealthy person. Mm-hmm. It's your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your health, the fun you like to have, and friends. Those 6 things is what we all need as human beings in this society and in life. The only issue is that finance is really like your thumb, okay? And your thumb is the only finger that can touch the other fingers. That's why finances is really the profound piece that we have to focus on first. If we can get it right, then every other area really begins to fit in place. So don't run away from your money problems. Find a way to fix them, to solve them. And people like us are here to help.
And so I think just like all other people on the show, from today, when I look at my thumb, I think about finance. Thank you. Karen says we should have such conversations again. Eugene, thank you for joining. He says a great conversation for our community. Thank you, Mabel and Kinsley. And All Mercy, thank you for joining. She says, yes, those 6 things help us a lot, even with mental wellness. I agree. Kinsley, the audience want you back. Maybe we'll do it again another time. This is a great and unending conversation. Thank you so much for accepting to come to Talk to Me Africa to teach us about finances. You have a blessed weekend and thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you've been doing. Thank you again.
Yeah. Bye for now.